Yes, some work.
I'll get your
Thank you.
slides up
Can you
there.
tell me? Good to see everyone, but let's get one thing out of the way. You don't trust me. And you shouldn't, really. You don't know me. You heard that this is about sales, and you picture the sales guy in a suit, full of smiles, promising you a 3-day vacation that somehow costs you $5,000. But not to worry, that's not me. I'm not wearing a suit. This is a cheap H&M t-shirt, and I have absolutely nothing to sell you, except maybe some freedom, if you're willing to listen closely for the next 20 minutes. Today, I want to teach you how to do one thing better than most people. I want to teach you a simple concept that works in any industry on how to build trust better than anyone else. I call it the 3 doors of trust. And if you unlock all 3 of these doors the right way, you become able to sell anything to anyone, as a marketer, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. Now, where do we go from here? Like trust, where does trust actually come from? Because trust isn't the vibe, trust isn't about charisma, trust isn't about shaking hands, and trust definitely isn't about being nice. Trust happens when we do 3 things in a specific order, but if we miss one, the whole thing falls apart. Like imagine you're walking a stranger down a hallway, and at the end of that hallway, there's the sale. But across that, we have 3 doors. And if we don't open these doors in the right order, everything falls apart. Door number 1 is insight. Now, everyone thinks insight means giving out more information. But people can get information freaking anywhere. I can go to ChatGPT right now and I can get gigabytes of information from its cold robotic hands. Insight is different. If we look at the actual words, it's inside, inside, inward, sight. Most people, when they think about the problems, they stay very surface level. Like, I don't have money, my offer isn't converting, I don't have experience. Insight goes a layer deeper and thinks, what belief, what pattern, what fear is causing this to happen? It's as if I'm walking into a doctor's office, my belly hurts, and I look at the doctor, his feet are up on the table, he's playing Clash of Clans on his phone, and without looking up, he throws me a pill. Would you take that pill? Would you trust that doctor? Because it's rarely about handing someone a solution, because the buyer and the problem the buyer will bring you is rarely the real problem. There's always a limiting belief, what we were talking about, underneath it all, sabotaging us. So how do we dismantle these limiting beliefs? Step number 1 is we acknowledge that limiting perspective. And how does a limiting belief actually show up? Like, it shows up with 2 ingredients. Number 1 is an ownership word. I own this. It's I or a we. And the second ingredient, it's a negative. So I am not strong enough. I do not have money. I do not have experience. The second step to this is we ask a question that redirects that belief. Because here's how it works. You have your prospect, he's walking down their own path, and you have 2 options. You can either yank them on your path, and it will take a lot of sweat, a lot of tears, and hopefully not blood. Or you can either ask a question to redirect that perspective. Now, so I'm not talking gibberish. Let's look at some examples. I don't have time for another pitch. You might hear that if you do prospecting or any sales of any sort. I don't have time for another pitch. First, we acknowledge, and we say something like, yeah, I'm just an annoying stranger for sure. Then we can redirect and say, but what if giving me 15 minutes now could save you 15 hours next week? What if they say, we'll revisit this next quarter? We acknowledge and we say, well, you can push it 2 quarters if you want to. That's fine by me. And then we redirect by saying, but have you considered what happens if you don't make a change for a couple of quarters and your chances stay exactly the same? What if they say, this feels expensive? First, we acknowledge and we say, yeah, it's not cheap by any means. And then we redirect by saying, is it more expensive for you to stay with your current challenges as they are? Or is it more expensive to invest to fix this for good? So when we give insight like that to someone, their mind opens up. Now, once their mind is open, it's not about what they think, it's about what they feel. So that's where door number 2 comes in where we have emotional connection. Now I notice we have a lot of, or maybe many scientists in the crowd, so I had to look up like the actual term for emotional connection. And I was very concerned to get this right. So the actual term for emotional connection is giving a shit. So how can we get a stranger to part with their cash, with their cold hard cash dollars, and we just don't want their money? It doesn't take glazing them, and it doesn't take compliments. What it takes is spiking up one hormone that's called vasopressin. Imagine vasopressin as the glue in human bonding. So this gets released when we collaborate towards a common goal, when we battle a common enemy, when we overcome a common obstacle together. Let me share a quick personal story. I was in my probably second date with my wife, and I wanted to be the nice guy, right? So I'm like, let's buy some desserts. I get the desserts and I walk up to her all proud. I go and I open the box and I feel like a fool because I had forgotten the spoons. So we're 2 adults now, we're looking at the desserts like museum exhibits, like we can't really touch them. So I'm like, well done, buddy, you screwed up this one. But my wife, surprisingly, she's like, well, don't worry about it, right across the street, there's an ice cream shop, let's go borrow some spoons and we'll eat them. And it turns out it was one of the best dates we had ever. And we got married, obviously. So your prospects are the exact same way. They have a dessert that they want to eat, but there's something getting in the way of them eating that dessert. So if you help them get that, they're yours for life. However, where does that bring us? To one rule. Stop trying to sell and start trying to solve one small problem together. Now let's look at how it works as a formula. Anytime you're in a sales conversation with someone, right before the pitch, I want you to say this. And if it's not gonna get you more sales, like call me. I won't answer, but just try it out. So you'll say, I have a concern. What usually stops people at this stage is blank. How are you dealing with that? Let's look at this, actual examples. So if you're selling a service, you will say, before we jump into the details, Mr. Prospect, I have a concern. Like what usually stalls people in this stage is finding the time to actually use this. How are we going to deal with that? And then you collaborate on that objection that was about to show up. Let's say you sell AI automation. That's really hot nowadays. I have a concern. What usually kills automation nowadays is unclear ownership. Like, we don't know who will use this shit. So who on your team actually owns this once we install? And now you can train the person, they can use it, they buy your thing. Let's say you sell fitness coaching. I have a concern. What usually stops a lot of my clients is they follow the plan and then they go binge. So how do you feel we can overcome that so we won't have to deal with that? When you build emotional connection that way, what comes to their mind is, oh, this person gets me. But then, there's another question that pops to their mind like a Pokemon. And that question is, do you actually know what you're doing? That's door number 3. That's credibility. Because I don't care how much you like your neighborhood brain surgeon. Like, if you need something serious done under the hood, you're not going to go to the guy that you like. You're going to go to the best person that you can afford. Now, before you shoot me, I'm seeing some angry faces, like any monkey can tell you how to build credibility. Like, you do the testimonials, you do the case studies, podcasts, PR, all that salad dressing, selfies with Mr. Beast. And these work, but they're too slow, okay? I like speed, so I like to engineer credibility. But first, let's look at how most people sell today. They're like, do you have a problem? You should buy my shit. Testimonial, 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 testimonial. Here's a guarantee on top, because I read the 100 million offers. That's not selling. That's asking someone to take a stupid leap off a cliff. Let's look at the visual. Your prospect is in hell. with their painful problems, their challenges, their woo-woos, their day-to-day. You're over there in Heaven Island, and you're like, yo, come over here. We have fairies and all your goals and your dreams, and the clouds are made of butter. And in between, there are shark-infested waters, which represent their fears, their doubts, everything they're scared of. What I'd like to suggest instead is, how about we build a bridge of trust? And a bridge of trust sits on 3 pillars. Pillar number 1 is, what's the problem with their current approach? Like, why have they failed so far to fix this problem? Pillar number 2 is, why will this time be different? Like, why is my product uniquely positioned to answer these challenges? And pillar number 3 is, what's one quick win that we can get together to show them proof? Credibility isn't about, look how cool I am or how many medals I have. It's about, here's a plan that we can tangibly follow to get shit done. Let's look at the service example. So you tell them during your pitch, during your actual pitch, that's what I want you to say. Right now you're staying consistent and you're trying to grow the business just by working harder. Our goal together is, we want to install systems that do that consistent work for you. And your quick win that we'll get together is, in just 7 days, we'll remove one task from your calendar, so you're immediately saving time. Let's look at a software example. Right now, you're buying a bunch of tools and you're hoping people use them and they end up as shelfware. This time is different, because we will train the person using the software so they know exactly what to do. Our quick win that we'll get together is, we're gonna train this person, and you're gonna have a playbook and they'll know exactly what the frick they're doing. So you're not wasting time. Would that help you? Fitness coaching. The problem with your current approach is, you've tried keto, you've tried removing bacon, you've tried everything, and your body is confused and we have no idea what's going on. What's going to be different is, we're going to change one variable at a time, so we know your body, we know how everything works. Our quick win together is, we will remove binging. So, credibility is about giving them a plan. When I show someone a clear bridge from where they are to where they need to be, they no longer think, will this work for me? Like, if you get the objection, will this work for me? This is what's missing. And instead, they start thinking, oh, this is something that I can follow. Now we're talking. So, in a world that's very low trust nowadays, here's how the game is played. Door 1 opens the mind, because you're dissolving a limiting story. Door 2, emotional connection, opens the heart, because we're collaborating on a common challenge. Door number 3, credibility, earns the right to lead, because we're building a bridge from where they are to where they want to go, while making them feel safe. When we stack all 3 of these doors, selling no longer feels like selling. Because I'm dissolving a limiting story, I am collaborating them and bond with them, because we're working together towards a common goal, and I'm building my credibility, because I'm showing them a clear plan. So in a world where no one trusts anything, the most powerful thing that we can do is becoming people worth trusting. I suggest, if we do that, we won't have to worry about money ever again. Thank you. Stop it. Stop it. Just stop it. Can you stop it? Good stuff.